Understanding form permissions can sometimes be quite difficult. Who is going to get notified when the form needs processing? Who can actually fill in the form in the first place as well? So it's all managed through your permissions. So first of all, you need to access the form where you want to manage your permissions, and of course click on the Pages tab as you can see here. We've got two pages in this form. This is address details and HR acknowledgement. So of course the permissions have been already set, so it's ideal to just talk through what has been set here. So likelihood is that on your first page of any form, you are more than likely not going to assign any permissions because you're happy for anyone to fill this in. It could be, for example, that a form should only be filled in by a person's manager, okay? So the person goes to the manager, tells them of whatever the problem is or whatever the details are, and then the manager would go and fill it in. Well, therefore, you would then change the permissions to a specific person or a specific group of people. And therefore, when anyone goes to access the forms area, not every single person will see this form because you will only see the forms you have permission to fill in. Now, in this case, anyone can fill in their change of address details. However, the permission comes into place for HR acknowledgement. So anyone can fill in the form, but then it goes through to HR to approve this information and acknowledge it. So of course, anyone has permission initially. When it comes to HR acknowledgement, I'm going to click on the padlock next to HR, and you're taken through to this screen where you can assign your permissions. So of course we've got permissions with alerts and permissions without alerts. It's important to know that permissions with alerts means that HR will get notified that I have filled in the form and therefore it needs processing. If you did permissions without alerts, it means that an alert would not trigger, and an alert is a notification or of course an email as well. It depends on your notification settings within the system. So for this form, we've got a HR permission. So if we click into the HR permission, let's see what we've got set up. So the permission name is, of course, HR. That is internal within the management of the form. No one actually sees this. This is where you choose whether or not you are going to send a notification. So it's very much a case of send alerts, okay? If this box isn't checked, then of course it will be a permission without alerts. And then, of course, the user or users must fill the below conditions to belong to the permission. So this is where you decide what sort of characteristics are going to go towards your permission. So, of course, we've got any user. So you can choose a specific person who will always be notified. A forms user group. So once you've created your forms user groups, you can group people together. This is a great way to potentially group all your managers together, for example. Rather than them being individual, you could put them into one complete grouping. An interact users group, so you can of course use your user groups that have been created through your application settings and your manage groups area. Department, so for this one, they have just got the department of HR. So anyone who fits into this department will of course be notified. Is initial form filler. So this could be the person who has first of all filled in the form, because these permissions are available on every single page of your form. So of course it could be a possibility that you need the initial form filler to fill in this next stage. Is a manager. So this is anyone who is listed as a manager on the system. So if you go into a person's profile, are they someone's manager? They fit into the is a manager field. Is a department manager is for when you go into application settings, manage groups, manage departments, and you click into any department, there is a main contact for each department. If that main contact field is filled in, then they are classed as a department manager. Is own manager. So this is for if you do not use managers within the system and therefore that person does not have a manager listed. This is commonly your CEO. Previous form fillers manager. So if I fill in this form, it would go straight through to my manager who is listed in my profile on the intranet. And in previous form fillers department. So of course, in my department, there may be 4 or 5 people or 15 people, for example, all of which, if they are in my department, they will be able to process that form for me because they are in previous form fillers department. Okay, once you're happy with the settings, click on save, and of course that is your permission now added to the system.